The following is a presentation of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. Ladies and gentlemen, Sleeman Breweries proudly presents the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast.
Hello once again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. It's great to be back with you guys once again. Absolutely thrilled to be alongside you guys. Episode number 13, we have reached the unofficial halfway point of the year. Not much of a Christmas break, though. 4 games next week, but we'll get to all that in a minute, guys. Yeah, it's a great episode of the podcast coming up here. We invite in the WOSHL president, Jamie Petrie, for a great conversation that'll be coming up here in a little bit as well. But it's a jam-packed episode. There's lots to cover as we give you guys also an in-depth look at we'll give you our standings updates. We'll give you our goals, assists, and points leaders in the WOSHL. We'll give you the defensive scoring leaders and the goaltending wins leaders as well. Lots of good things to cover. Also, we want to give you our highlights of the last week that was in the WOSHL and get you caught up on all the games that you missed and all the video highlights from all the games. Bunch of crazy games, man, but it's really getting interesting in terms of the standings. It's really, really fun time right now, and the games are only going to get harder, so looking forward to that. And then we'll also get you caught up, like I said, for next week. There are 4 games starting this Friday, and then there's games on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday next week. However, there will not be a podcast next week. It will happen a week after that. So in 2 weeks, I will return afterwards for the next podcast. It just doesn't make sense to do a podcast with only 1 game to recap or 2 games to recap or whichever. It'd just be confusing with games scheduled throughout the week. And the reason is for that is because with Christmas coming on Sunday and with the New Year's on Sunday as well, teams miss out on Saturday games, and we got to fit them in somehow, some way, in one way or another. So we do what we got to do, and we press forward. But yeah, guys, it's a great episode. Really, really a lot of good stuff to cover here, and also our interview with Jamie Petrie. But we're going to get into all of that, but we're going to start with our highlight pack from this past weekend in the WOSHL. It's great hockey, and let's get you started.
Our first highlight of the weekend comes courtesy of the Aaron Blitz traveling to the BAI CC complex to take on the Alvinston Killer Bees this past Friday night. Nearing the 12-minute mark of the first and the Blitz strike first, it's Lucas shot across to Liam Silva. He beats Nolan DeConing of the Bees, and it's 1-0 Aaron. Less than a minute later, Alvinston turns the puck over in their own zone, and leading scorer Jacob Miller has all day as he beats DeConing for his 13th of the year. It's 2-0 Aaron. Less than a minute to go in the period, Mike Cree blowing past Sheldon Timmermans of the Bees easily. He comes in on the 2-on-1, keeps and scores. He beats DeConing. It's 3-0 Blitz after 1 period of play. Second period now, Alvinston looking to get on the board. They catch a break. Blitz netminder Jacob Tugnut coming all the way out. However, he loses positioning and the puck, and it's newcomer Kair Cumming scoring his first of the season. It's 3-1 Aaron. Just over a minute later, B still humming in the Blitz zone. It's Derek Shaw to Dylan Shriver. He beats Tugnut. Blitz lead is 3-2, heading to the third. Third period now, less than 9 to play. Alvinston on the power play. Point shot is going to be stopped, but the rebound is out to Brandon Ritchie, who scores his first of the season. We are tied at 3. Less than 4 to play, and the Alvinston comeback is complete in this one. Alex Cunningham's shot from the slot is going to evade Tugnut, making it 4-3 Alvinston at that point. Time ticking down for the Blitz, and with the net empty, Alvinson's going to ice this game. It's Cunningham tapping it home, his second of the night and third of the season. Alvinston wins this game 5-3. They improve on the year to 4-8-1, while the Aaron Blitz fall to 2-10-1. Our next stop emanates from the friendly confines of the Elora and District Community Center, where the home Elora Rocks welcomed in the visiting Strathroy Jets. Picking things up here in the second period, and it's Strathroy getting on the board first. Mike Mandarelli turns on the Jets and he beats Colin Dunn, low blocker side. That makes it 1-0 Strathroy on Mandarelli's 9th of the season. Less than 7 to play after Matt LeBerge power play goal made it 2-0. Jets looking for more. Justin McIntyre's initial shot is stopped by Dunn, but the rebound is buried by Noah Bruin, and that's his first of the season. It's 3-0 Strathroy. A minute later, and it's the Jets capitalizing once again. Elora turnover, leading to this Mandarelli goal, his second of the night and 10th of the year, makes it 4-0 Jets. Elora trying to snag momentum as the period winds down. Great individual effort here from Sean Pickering. He beats Josh Diamond with a beauty for his third of the season. Elora is on the board. It's 4-1 Jets heading to the third. Nearing the 6-minute mark of period 3, Rocks keep pressing. Nice move at the line from Chad Heron. His shot from long range beats Diamond. It's 4-2 on Heron's 14th of the year. Heron's not done there. Less than 5 to play in the frame. Spencer Gourlay is going to center it out in front, and Heron is the beneficiary on the play. That's his 15th of the year. 4-3 Jets at that point, but it was as close as they would come. Final seconds with the net empty. Rocks pressing, but Diamond and the Jets stand tall on this night. They pull off the 4-3 victory. Strathroy improving to 8-7 with the win, while the Rocks fall to 9-4-1 on the season.
Let's head to Stratford for our Western Ontario Super Hockey League Game of the Week. The Fighting Irish, playing their final game before the holidays. They were hosting the Alvinston Killer Bees on Saturday afternoon. Opening period, it's a good start for the Irish. Zach Tierney is at the point, and he finds Graham Burloff for the goal. Stratford striking just over a minute in. They are up 1-0. Midway through the period, it's another beauty feed. This time it's Brody Smith setting up Dylan Buckholtz. He rips it in. Buckholtz with his third goal of the year. He makes it 2-0 Irish. Still in the first, we've got some rough stuff. Alex Cunningham delivering a hit for the Killer Bees. Moments later, he collides with Brody Smith, and look out, we've got a tilt. Daniel McCutcheon for the Irish, and Shane Kenwell from the Bees getting into it. Both players receiving 2 minutes for roughing. Later in the period, more Irish offense. Sean O'Brien with the puck, and he finds Matt Granger. That's his first of the year. 3-0 Stratford after the first. Second period, Ryvie Coombe is at the point. He lets it go and scores. The Irish blue liner with his second of the year. 4-0 Stratford, and their offense was far from done. This is Graham Burlock going to the net, and he's got a redirect. That's his second of the day. Stratford is up 6-0, and they get another one 35 seconds later. Ryvie Coombe with his second of the game. The Irish in control, up by 7. Still in the second, here is Daniel McCutcheon cutting to the middle, and he's got a goal. McCutcheon giving his team an 8-0 lead after 40 minutes. Let's move to the third, and the Bees get on the board. Kane Johnson with a nice feed to Scott Case, and he puts it in. Case scoring his second goal of the year. When it was over, the Irish pick up their 9th straight victory. They win it by a final score of 9-1 on Saturday afternoon.
This one was a good one. Can't stress that enough. Last year's Sleeman Cup Finals matchup taking place this past Saturday night in Tillsonburg between the Thunder and the Rocks. Pick things up a little less than 3 into period 1. The Rocks strike first. Andrew Whalen's going to capitalize on the Thunder turnover. He beats Jesse Raymond of the Thunder. It's Whalen's first, and it's 1-0 Elora. 2 minutes later, Rocks pressing and looking for more. Shot from the sideboards is going to be deflected by Chad Heron. He continues his monster season with his 16th goal of the year. It's 2-0 Elora. A minute later, Rocks on the man advantage. It's going to be Zach Cameron left all alone. He beats a helpless Raymond to give the Rocks a 3-0 lead. That's his 9th of the year. Just over halfway through the first period, and it's Rocks' Andrew Brubaker leading the rush. His centering pass takes a friendly bounce back to him. He beats Raymond. That's his first of the season. The Rocks are out to a commanding 4-0 lead. 5 to play, and Raymond's nightmare start comes to an end here. Luke Holzer will get credit for his 3rd goal of the year, and Raymond's night is done. Matt Segrot coming in for the Thunder. 5-0 Elora after 1. Second period now, Thunder wasting no time getting on the board. On the fresh ice, it's Chris McGuffin streaking in and going top shelf on Rocks netminder Anthony Marshall. That's his 6th of the season. He was just getting started. It's 5-1 Elora. Minute and a half later, Thunder continuing to apply the pressure. Puck will eventually find the tape of Kane Geldart. He snaps it past Anthony Marshall. Elora's lead is 5-2. Less than 30 seconds later, Elora turnover down low. Centering pass is out to Derek Slott. He makes no mistake. That's his 3rd of the year. It's 5-3 Rocks. 2 minutes later, Thunder capitalizing again. It's McGuffin hammering home the one-timer from Jamie McQueen. Thunder within 1. It's 5-4. Nearing the 8-minute mark of period 2, and things are really ramping up in this one. Big check here on the boards from Zach Cameron on Jacob Brown of the Thunder. Play continuing. It's going to come the other way, and it's going to be Cameron bringing the puck into the Thunder zone. He drops the puck back, and he is absolutely obliterated by Brown. Brown is assessed a 5-minute major in game misconduct on the play. It remains 5-4 Elora. Just under 7 to go in the period. Stretch pass here, and it's going to be Yanni Skropoulos who comes in alone. His shot beats Segrot. That puts Elora's lead back up to 2. It's 6-4 Rocks. But with the Thunder on the power play and time ticking down, it's going to be defenseman Todd Ratchford with the howitzer from the line. His 1st of the year comes at a crucial time with 10 seconds left in the frame. Thunder are down 1. It's 6-5 heading to the 3rd. Third period now, just over 3 minutes in, and the Thunder finally get back to even ground in this one. After trailing 5-0 after 1, McGuffin with the incredible solo effort. He goes backhand to beat Marshall for the hat-trick goal. We are tied at 6. This crazy game required extra time as both teams earn a point. 3-on-3 overtime now, and it's Andrew Tapsell with the first chance for the Thunder. Glorious chance here, but he can't beat Marshall. He hits the crossbar, and we play on. Time ticking down in the 3-on-3, and the puck comes ahead to Yanni Skropoulos, but he loses the puck at the last second. It remains tied, and we proceed to 2-on-2 overtime for the first time in WOSHL history. And it's off the offensive zone faceoff win. Elora's Andrew Whalen is going to turn this puck over, and it's Ratchford to Jamie McQueen. He puts it through the legs of Marshall, giving the Thunder the comeback victory. Thunder win it 7-6. The win improves them to 11-1 on the season, and they have won 10 in a row. Elora with the single point falls to 9-4-2 on the season. Our final matchup of the weekend saw the Strathroy Jets travel to Delhi to take on the Delhi Flames. Strathroy coming out victorious in the hockey game by a count of 3-2. Strathroy's record improving to 9-7-0 with the victory. It's their 2nd of the weekend. Big weekend for them. The Delhi Flames falling to 2-13-1 with the loss. Earning the win in net was number 31 Logan Vermont. He stops 39 of 41 in the victory for the Strathroy Jets. It's his first victory of the season. For the Delhi Flames, losing effort from Richard Little. He comes in, plays his first game with the Delhi Flames, and he falls in this matchup, stopping 21 of 24 in the loss for Delhi. Scoring for the Delhi Flames, Jacob Miller and Chris Donnelly scoring for the Delhi Flames in the loss. Adding assists, Mike Stolar, Sebastian Guastanizny, Wade Metz, Adam Lanning, adding helpers as well. Over on the winning Strathroy Jets side, scoring Noah Bruinink, Wes Houston, and Mike Bondi. Adding assists in the game, Jake Elkins with 1, Kobe Ferreira with 1, Justin McIntyre with 2, and Matt LeBerge with 2. But the final score in this one, 3-2, Strathroy Jets over the Delhi Flames. Okay, folks, we get started on our mid-season report here. Got a lot of things to show you here as we conduct our midway point of this season here on the WOSHL podcast, episode number 13. We'll start with our standings board, and a lot of information up there, but we'll take you through it. The Tillsonburg Thunder and the Tilbury Bluebirds sitting at a tie for first. Tillsonburg in first place on strength of their win percentage being higher. They have won 10 in a row. They are 11-1-0. 97 a league high in goals for, and 40 against for a plus-minus differential of 57, which is tops in all of WOSHL. Tilbury Bluebirds 11-2. They have played one more game than the Thunder. They have 80 in, 35 against for a plus-minus of 45. They are winners of 2 in a row. The Stratford Fighting Irish into third place on the strength of a 9-game winning streak. Their win percentage sits at .833, 85 goals in and a league low 34 against for a plus-minus differential of 51. They are 10-2 on the year. They have played 3 less games than the fourth place Elora Rocks, in which place they are tied with. It's a tie for third, but Stratford, with the strength of their win percentage and games in hand, occupy third, and Elora in fourth. Elora 86-57 against. Plus minus of 29. They have lost 2 in a row. They're going to have to make up some ground here, or get some back into the win column. Absolutely, in the stretch drive in the second half of the season. For the Strathroy Jets, they are in fifth, winners of 3 in a row, 2 on the weekend. 9-7-0 for them. They have played in a league high 16 games so far alongside the Delhi Flames. 9-7-0, 18 points, 63 in, 66 against for a plus-minus-3. And like I said, winners of 3 in a row. The Plattsville Lakers, after 15 games, 5-10 on the year, 55 in, 90 against for a plus-minus differential -35. They currently have a 1-point lead over the Alvinston Killer Bees. They have played one more game. Alvinston at 4-9-1, losers of 1 in a row. 45 in, 78 against for plus-minus differential -33. They have a 4-point lead on both the Aaron Blitz and the Delhi Flames. Aaron Blitz have played 3 less games than the Delhi Flames, so it'll be a tall order for Delhi, who will try and sneak into that 8th spot, but currently those teams are currently tied with 5 points apiece. Blitz have lost 2 in a row, Delhi 9 in a row. They will be looking to turn things around and push towards the WOSHL Sleeman Cup playoffs. Moving on, we have our league leaders, and we have it broken down here for goals, assists, and points. As you can see, Kevin Hugh continues to lead in goals with 21. He is having a monster year for the Plattsville Lakers. Followed behind him are Graham Brulot and Dylan Denomi, both with 17. Chad Heron with 16. Vyacheslav Chagrincev with 14. Jacob Miller, the Aaron Blitz, with 13. Braden Roberts with 13. And you have Spencer Gourlay, Jamie McQueen, and Mike Mandarelli with 10 apiece. Over in the assist column, Vyacheslav Chagrincev with leads with Ray Robbins, both with 17 apiece. Ray of Stratford. Chad Heron with 15. Hunter Dubecki of Plattsville with 14. Jamie McQueen with 14. You have Carson Perry of the Alvinston Killer Bees having a good year down there. He has 14 assists on the year. Chris Knotts with 13. Cameron Stokes with 13. And Dylan Denomi and Spencer Gourlay both with 12 assists apiece. Our points column, our points lead, Vyacheslav Chagrincev has held the points lead for most of the season, but he has been caught by Chad Heron. They both occupy the lead with 31 apiece. Dylan Denomi 2 points back at 29. Kevin Hugh at 26. Jamie McQueen at 24. Graham Brulot at 23. Hunter Dubecki, Spencer Gourlay, Ray Robbins at 22. And a collection at 20, led by Braden Roberts of the Tillsonburg Thunder. And then if we go and we look at our final league leaders board. We have our leaders in terms of points for defensemen. Brandon Barletta and Chris Knotts, both from Tillsonburg with 16 apiece. Mateo Condata with 15. Mitch Randall of Plattsville with 15. Matt LeBerge with 12, alongside Sean O'Brien of Stratford and Captain Jeff White of the Aaron Blitz. Jamie Damancineri, Bailey Freifogel, and Spencer McCormick, all with 10 for their respective clubs on the defensive side of things. As we look, also our final category is goalies wins for the year. shout out to the goalies because, without them, we wouldn't have the caliber of play and the results that we do, and they've been outstanding, these goaltenders who have racked up some big W's for their squads. Ryan Polidori has played in a league-high 12 games, and he has won 10 of them. He is unreal for the Bluebirds. Matt Sagrod has had an unbelievable year for Tilsonburg, 7 victories for him. Colin Dunn and Josh Diamond, last year's outstanding goaltenders in WOSHL. They have 6 wins apiece. Zach Weir with 5, Jesse Raymond with 4, Darren Smith of the Stratford Fighting Irish with 4. He is perfect on the year. Nolan DeConing with 4, Devin Clark with 4, and Cody Odvashar with 2 for the Delhi Flames. Wraps the league leaders in that category. We move on to our individual teams, guys, and this is where we kind of look at the teams and what they have left and what they've done to this point. So for Alvinston, 4-9-1, they have 9 points and they are in 7th place. If you guys look at their schedule upcoming, a lot of games coming up against the Tilbury Bluebirds here, as they will play them the next 3 games. They have 2 against Stratford, 1 against Strathroy, Plattsville, Delhi, and Erin to end their season. It'll be a tall order, no doubt, but that's their remaining schedule. You also look at their top scorer, Carson Perry. He's been unbelievable. 5 goals, 14 assists, 19 points. He has been outstanding. And then Nolan DeConing has been an absolute workhorse for the Killer Bees this season, alongside Spencer Robertson. DeConing, 343 shots against for a save percentage of .875 in the games that he's played so far this year. He has been outstanding for them. We switch over to the Delhi Flames, 2-13-1, a new expansion team to the WOSHL this year. They are sitting in 9th place. Tall order for them, but they will need to get things going here to sneak into the WOSHL playoffs. Their schedule remaining is going to be a tall order also. They have 3 games against the Elora Rocks, defending champions. You have Stratford on there, Erin Blitz, Alvinston, Tilsonburg, and another date against Erin to close the season on February the 26th. Chris Donnelly has been really good, the captain of the Delhi Flames. 6 goals, 5 assists for 11 points for him. They've gotten no shortage of help in terms of it's been a goalie carousel for them. Richard Little just getting the most recent start against the Strathroy Jets. But Cody Odvashar has been their workhorse. 10 games played, 346 shots against with a save percentage of .864 in the Delhi net. We continue on. We look at the Elora Rocks now. 9-4-2 on the season. 20 points. They are currently in 4th. The tie for 3rd. Their schedule remaining is one of ease by the looks of it, if you depending on who you ask, of course. The Erin Blitz, they play 3 times. The Delhi Flames 3 times. The Plattsville's on the schedule, as well as Tilsonburg twice. So we'll see how it goes for the rest of the way for them. Colin Dunn's been a workhorse in net for the Elora Rocks. In 10 games, 373 shots against for a save percentage of .895. His record 6-3-1 on the year. Chad Heron, got to give enough credit for this guy. 16 goals, 15 assists for him for 31 points. He has been outstanding for the Elora Rocks this season. Also on the back end, Mateo Condata, he's been outstanding as well for the Elora Rocks. He has 4 goals and 11 assists for 15 points so far this season for the Elora Rocks. Next up is the Erin Blitz in their first WOSHL season. 2-10-1 on the season. They currently occupy the 8th and final spot in the WOSHL standings. Their remaining schedule, they got a little bit all over the board here. They play Elora 3 times, Tilsonburg 3 times, Delhi twice. You also have Alvinston in there, Plattsville twice, and we'll see how it goes for the Erin Blitz if they could turn things around. They've recently brought in Jacob Tugnut, son of former Ottawa Senators goaltender Ron Tugnut, and he is yet to get a win so far this season. But Braden Kelso has been their workhorse, 269 saves against for a save percentage of .840. He is 2-5-1, but he has played in 8 games. Stephen Horvat split with 6 games for him as well. But Jacob Miller's been their beast. He has 13 goals, pacing everybody on the Blitz, and he has 19 points as well. He has been outstanding for the Erin Blitz. Our next team that we want to take a look at here are the Plattsville Lakers, also in their first year of expansion, having come into the WOSHL. They are 5-10 on the season. They have 10 points. They're in 6th place currently in the WOSHL standings. Their upcoming schedule, they play Stratford 3 times. They have Aaron Blitz twice, the Tilsonburg Thunder twice, and we had the Alvinston Killer Bees as well for the remainder of their schedule. Devin Clark has been their workhorse in net. He owns a record of 4-6. He has faced 489 shots. His save percentage is .871. Bright spot for the Plattsville Lakers this year, obviously, as well, was Leah Klompmaker, the first woman in WOSHL history to play a position, and she has a win, and she is 1-0 on the year. But she was outstanding in that victory. Kevin Hugh has been unbelievable, the captain of the Plattsville Lakers. 21 goals to pace the Plattsville Lakers. He has 26 points. Hunter Dubecki has been equally as good. He has 22 on the season. Next up, we look at the Strathroy Jets, who are 9-7 on the season. They have 18 points. They currently sit in 5th position in the WOSHL standings. Their remaining schedule: 2 against Tilsonburg, 3 against the Tilbury Bluebirds, 1 against Alvinston, and 2 back-to-back, a huge back-to-back on home ice against the Stratford Fighting Irish in the February 10th and February 17th. Those will be big games for both teams. Mike Mandarelli paces the Strathroy Jets. He has 19 points in 16 games played this season. He has been absolutely dynamite for the Jets. Got to give shout out to my boy Matt LeBerge. He's been excellent on the defensive end for the Jets. 2 goals, 10 assists for him, 12 points. Josh Diamond, he had an unbelievable first campaign, first year with the WOSHL, and he's following that up beautifully. His win-loss would probably be better if you were to ask him, but 6-6 on the year, 458 shots against. His save percentage is .886, and he does have a shutout on the season. Next, we go to the Stratford Fighting Irish, who have won 9 in a row. They are 10-2. They're tied for 3rd with the Laura Rocks, but in the 3rd spot based on win percentage. Graham Brulot's been outstanding, 17 goals for him, while Ray Robbins has 17 helpers for 22 points. Brulot with 23. Zach Weir and Darren Smith has formed quite a tandem here since Darren Smith has come in. Darren Smith 4-0 on the year, .933 save percentage with a shutout. Zach Weir 5-1-0, 203 shots against for an .897 save percentage, 1 shutout for him. And their remaining schedule looks like this. You got Tilbury 3 times, the Strathroy Jets twice, Plattsville Lakers 3 times, Alvinston twice in a matchup against Tilsonburg, and Delhi as well. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how this momentum that the Stratford Fighting Irish has built to this point will last for the remainder of the second half of the season. Our next team profile is the Tilbury Bluebirds. They sit at 11-2 on the season. They are in 2nd place, tied for 1st with the Tilsonburg Thunder, but 2nd based on win percentage. Vyacheslav Chagrintsev's has been outstanding. 14 goals, 17 assists for 31 points. Captain Dylan Denomi was 17 and 12 for 29. Also very impressive on the year. Ryan Polidori's been an absolute beast in the nets for the Bluebirds. In 12 games, he is 10-2, 409 shots against for a save percentage of .892 and 2 shutouts. Pretty much, it's a great debate, but he's been one of the best goalies in WOSHL this season. For their upcoming schedule, their remaining schedule for the rest of the season, you got 3 games against the Stratford Fighting Irish, 3 games against the Strathroy Jets, 4 against the Alvinston Killer Bees, and a matchup also against the Tilsonburg Thunder. The rest of the way out should be a great finish for them in their first season, and they will be a handful in the WOSHL playoffs, no question about it. And our final team that we take a look at here, the Tilsonburg Thunder. Winners of 10 in a row, they are 11-1. They sit in 1st spot currently. Jamie McQueen, 24 points, paces all scores, 10-4, 10 goals, 14 assists on the year. Braden Roberts has been excellent as well, 13 goals, 7 assists to 13 lead all Tilsonburg scores. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in double figures in points. So far this season, they have gotten a ton of scoring all the way around in their lineup on any given night. It's been quite impressive to watch. Matt Sagrad has been a pleasant surprise in the nets for the Tilsonburg Thunder. 7-1 on the year, 251 shots against, .940 is his save percentage, and he has 2 shutouts. Jesse Raymond, 4-0, a perfect 4-0 on the year. 193 shots against, 876 save percentage for Jesse this year. It's great to see him back in the Tillsonburg net after last year's knee injury derailed his season. But that is our look at our mid-season report and our team reports at this point in the season.
Yeah, guys, boy, I hope that wasn't too much of an information overload there, but a lot of good stuff there. Obviously, the great highlights that we had from this past weekend, and obviously, you guys can see where the standings are. It's pretty unreal right now in terms of 1 through 5, that's for sure. But any team can beat any team on any given night, in my opinion, and that's all. I've never really strayed away from that. So we'll continue to see how it gets going in the second half of the season. Really going to be really, really interesting. Also want to give a shout out, though, to Darren Stevenson, 509 Sports Online, for his coverage of all of our games so far this year. The games of the week that he does great work, and I know he's busy, but he's got a great group of people over there, and they're doing wonderful. So shout out to him, and a Merry Christmas to those at 519 Sports Online. But yeah, without further ado, guys, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to go to our interview on this week's edition of the podcast, the halfway season, mid-season report episode. Our guest is WOSHL president, Jamie Petrie. All right, folks, Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. This is episode number 13. It's also our halfway point of the season podcast. And we're very pleased at this time to be joined by our league president, head honcho, Jamie Petrie. Jamie, it's great to have you on. It's always a pleasure to have you on to come on and speak with me, and welcome to the podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Yes, it is the time of the year. The holidays are fast approaching. Hopefully everybody's got their Christmas shopping done and so on and so forth. Jamie, this is a great time. We're really hitting our peak here in terms of this season. The games are only going to get more exciting. They've been pretty exciting to this point. Take me through your thoughts of WOSHL year 2 and how it's going so far for you.
It's going decent. I mean, you're right. We're around the halfway point. Obviously, I'm thinking about this question because it would come up. Is you look at, the top 5 teams in this league could beat anyone at any night, and then you have the emergence of Plattsville that's right there. So, which I think they will be a tough out come playoff time. You have some new. New entries, expansion teams with Delhi and Aaron that are finding their way. So it's been good competitive wise. You're going to see some lopsided scores sometimes, but you see that in every league. You're seeing it in the NHL right now with Chicago games and some Arizona. So overall, it's been good. Our numbers as far as watching the games for Sport 5 have been really good. The one thing, and Bill Ryan, spoke about him many times, but does a great job. He did some analytics with the numbers of people watching. We have over 30,000 hits on our website per week. That's just on our website. Right. So the other social media platforms. So, the credibility of our league, it's there. And people are noticing it, and we'll get into expansion talk for year 3 in a second. But long-winded answer, happy. There's obviously things that we can do better and stuff that comes up during the year going, oh, we didn't think this would happen. But overall, we're happy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just it, right? Like there's been, I think one of the interesting things that I've noticed from year 1 to year 2, it seems that scoring is up. Like some of the numbers that are being put up by these guys, maybe that speaks a little bit to the talent that has been recruited here. But I just think that scoring's up by bunches, and it just seems like everybody is really picking it up and taking it and putting up some big numbers. Would you agree with that?
There's some big numbers. At the end of the day, talent wins. Right. If you can't play hockey, you're not going to play. I know it sounds thanks Captain Obvious, but it is. And again, you might put that against junior teams or junior leagues and so on and so forth. It's all over. Scoring is up, and fans want to see that. Now, some of it is, and we talked about this off the air, is how do teams travel? So this age group, different than say junior, isn't always attended the best. with guys in school and family and work commitments. And that's the one thing that even some of the records of some teams, it's different because of how they travel. So that's the only, I would say, blip with this age group. And it's no matter what age group, there's different leagues here that you sometimes don't get full rosters, unfortunately. Then sometimes you get a little bit of a mismatch, hence the scoring's up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And obviously, when it comes to traveling and that sort of thing, it's always tough with different variations. Like I say, guys with other commitments, scheduling, work, that sort of thing. And obviously weather comes into a factor as well with that. What I think is going to be really interesting, Jamie, is how things are going to seed out at the end of the year, because like you said, it's a tight race up there. You got Tillsonburg and Tilbury right up there, 22 points, occupying the first seed. And then you have Strathroy 6 points behind, or sorry, excuse me. Let me see here. I'm counting now in my head. 4 points behind, excuse me, in fifth place. So one through five, that's a tight gap. And I mean, obviously home ice in the first round would be crucial for any of those five teams.
It will be. And again, there's lots of runway still left here, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, like we look, Tilbury, an expansion team, they did an outstanding job. They're the only team down Chatham, Kent, Windsor, and they've taken full advantage of the recruiting pocket down there, and they did a real good job. Tillsonburg's Tillsonburg. They're real strong. And then the other three teams are right there. And like I said this earlier, you look at a Strathroy and to a lesser degree, Elora, with guys, they don't always have a full lineup. And so the records can be a little deceiving. But like I said earlier, those top five teams have there's some real good talent on those teams. And it will be interesting come playoff time.
And so as, obviously with your involvement with Stratford, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit, but how do you keep guys focused throughout the course of the season? Because early on, the games might not be as ratchety, to use a coin of phrase from my buddy Brian Hawley. He uses that term a lot, and it's quite funny when he does. But these games are only going to get harder for these teams, and they're only going to ramp up in intensity. And then once playoff time comes, it's a whole nother animal. How do you keep a team focused? And maybe from the Stratford side of things, like, what is your message to your guys about, and what is the most important thing moving forward? Is it health? Is it, staying focused? What is your tactic on that?
So, some of that happens within. It's the players. Excuse me. We'll take a step back. Yeah, there's teams that don't travel well, this and that, and there's lots of stuff on the go, but we are allowed to sign 40 players for regular season. It does come down January 16th, but it's building a culture. If it's fun, if it is a release on the week to come to the rink, you will get guys showing up. And again, a lot of stuff comes into play in that, but my thing is having fun. They want to come to the rink. And they want to hang out in the room. And I know that's an overused thing, but hang out in the room and they talk and have a cocktail together after and the banter. And then they want to still play hockey. There's a reason why they don't want to play beer league yet, or beer league, or beer league full time. So I think it's more of a culture. Have fun, come to the rink, and it's a release from the everyday world of work or school.
Absolutely. It's well said there for sure. And you got a couple teams that are on absolute heaters right now, and that includes yourself in Stratford and in Tillsonburg as well. Well, let's speak about Stratford. I mean, you guys are on an absolute roll. I think a big part of that from the outside looking in is your goaltending, which has been outstanding this year in comparison to last year, where some would say that it was suspect, for lack of a better word. What is your biggest thing that you've noticed with your team that has allowed you guys to be as successful as you have in the last 8 games that you've been on this win streak for?
Well, I'll touch on the suspect part last year. It certainly was after we lost Nathan Torkia.
Sure.
I think we only went through 17 goalies after.
Yeah, sure.
So yes, it was suspect, and I don't disagree with you. It starts on the back end, but then it goes. We have a 1 and 1A, 1A, 1B, good tandem there. But then it goes to the defense. We bulked up our defense with with some real good talent. I can go through all the names, but our depth is better this year, and then our forward line, we can throw four lines. Are we the best team in the league? No, but I would say that we can compete with any team in the league, and we expect to go into a game this year to win. We're not going to win every game. Versus last year, we'd go into a game just to compete.
Right.
So it's different, and I would say that back to that culture and the guys, they love being at the rink. At practices, we're averaging 22, 23, 24 guys at practice. That tells me they want to come to the arena and hang out with each other. That to me has a bit to do with the streak as well. And they keep coming. I think our speed is good. So it will keep other teams on the toes, and we're still looking to upgrade. We have till January 16th to upgrade, and like every other team is going to, but that's long-winded. I think we have a decent hockey club.
Yeah, I mean, again, having watched you guys and having watched a lot of your games, like you guys are fast out of the gate. Like you tend to really put the hammer down in that first period. I'm not sure what the reason or recipe is for that, but I know one guy who's also very good in the first few seconds is Graham Brulot. And I mean, part of that is the fact that he's got 17 goals on the year, but I wonder if half a dozen of them have come within the first minute, a minute and a half into the game. It's wild what's going on with him this year.
It is, and he's a wonderful player, great guy. And he was real good last year before he headed off to Germany. But I see it's just a different guy to a degree. He's playing with a little bit more jam. He skates great. He's got a good shot, and the other thing too, his confidence is it's funky. And he certainly has confidence. I would imagine when he has the puck on his stick, all he sees is mesh. Where sometimes all you see is a goalie. So he's along with Stratford, he's on a good heater, and couldn't happen to a better guy.
Well, absolutely. Now let's speak about this. So let's go back to the expansion. Obviously, we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. The Tilbury Bluebirds have been a pleasant surprise in their expansion year. They're 11-2. They got some real snipers on this team. Dylan Denomi, the captain, Vyacheslav Chigrinsev tied for the lead in scoring alongside Chad Herron from Elora. And Ryan Polidori's been an absolute beast in net for them, having started all but one game, and he's won 10 games. Like, they've just been pretty darn good from top to bottom. Speaking of them specifically, and maybe even expansion as a whole, how pleasantly surprised have you been by these four teams and their addition to the WOSHL this year?
It's been real good. I'll speak to Tilbury. It's not a surprise to me.
Right.
Like I said earlier, they are the only team down that way, and they did a real good job on capitalizing, being the only team down that way, and getting the some real good hockey players down that. There's a ton of hockey players down there, so they did a good job. They were a really good team. Joe Burney is a good hockey guy, a great hockey guy, and he's ran some hockey clubs in the past. And no, they have it going, and it's a hike up down that way. So teams come in there, and these guys are ready to go, as in Tilbury, and they're taking full advantage of it. They did a real good job. The other teams, it sometimes goes just like Tilbury, and the other time, sometimes it takes some time, and you look at a team like Aaron, who had some bumps as far as the win-loss before they got their first victory. Now has some real good games under their belt. They've won some games, and I know, we played them a couple of weeks ago in Stratford, and it was a tough 5-2 victory for Stratford to get out of there. You look at Delhi just lost a squeaker to Stratford. I think it was 3-2 or 2-1.
3-2.
So it's respectable. Plattsville, Plattsville's put a good hockey club, and they're sitting nice in 6. And like I said earlier, they're going to be a real tough out. So yes, there's growing pains, but they're establishing themselves in their own markets. And the crowds have been decent in those markets as well, and they've all of them have did a real good job off the ice promoting their product.
Yeah, I mean, and we can't go and talk Plattsville without talking about Kevin Hugh, because he's pretty unreal as well in terms of the fact that he's got 21 goals at this point in the season. A lot of it is funny because you talk about numbers, you talk about okay, these guys are putting up ridiculous numbers. We still got a lot of games left to be played, and there's numbers that are going to be broken, records that are going to be set, that are very impressive to see all throughout. Jamie, in terms of this year too, like what is your, I guess, expectation for the rest of this season? And are you looking forward to year 3? And is there anything, I guess, that you can divulge for us that you're planning for year 3 without giving so much away?
Well, it's not some big secret or hidden recipe. Bill isn't Bill Ryan and I and Bobby Langdon. We started talking about year 3 in July.
Right.
And you have to be proactive that way. So for sure, there's expansion, and like I've said a few times, and I said on the podcast earlier, we've had over, I think it's 26, 27 teams reach out to us since last Christmas. Again, of various degrees, but it's starting to heat up for year 3, and I think the goal would be to go to 12 teams, but geographically have 6 in the West, 6 in the East,
Right.
and we want the right place. And those are easier said than done, but that's the goal. And we have some real healthy dialogue going on right now. As far as the rest of this season is just what we're seeing now: competitive games, and the scores get. And after Christmas, it's going to get tighter, and then a good healthy run to the Sleeman Cup. So that's for the rest of the season. And like I said, for next year, get her up to 12.
Right.
And then button down some of the things that need to be changed or a little better within our league.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that completely. Last year's final was very good. I mean, the Laura Rocks and the Tillsonburg Thunder really going, punch for punch in the first ever Sleeman Cup finals. What do you recall from that? And I guess if you could even maybe play a little predictor, like what are you expecting from this year's Sleeman Cup playoffs? And, who do you see coming out on top, if you could even be a little bit, of a predictor in that sense? I know you don't want to be like, oh, well, I favor this team. It's not going to come off like that. I'm just curious as to kind of how you see the rest of the season going from the teams that do make it and how it ends up.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that I believe the top 5 teams could beat anyone on a given night. Now, when you go into a series, it's a little different. Right. As I kind of went through those top teams, Tilbury and Tillsonburg are real good. I commented on Stratford. Anyone in Stratford will think they can play anyone in the playoffs, and I believe Laura and Strathroy would say the exact same thing. Then you have Plattsville, who's going to be a tough out in that first round, and we'll see how the other series take shape in the first round. But I think it's going to be, with adding those extra teams, we added another round.
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting, and then you get into a little bit of endurance. If you want to say who's healthy, who's not,
right?
Because that comes into play at that time of year. So I'm not fence sitting. I'm saying there's a lot on the table. It'll be interesting. There's some real good hockey clubs. I don't know. Like I said, I think there's 2 good teams right at the top right now.
Yeah,
they've proven that, but we'll see come 3 out of 5s and 4 out of 7s, and we'll see who everyone picks up, if people pick up stuff between now and January 16th.
Right. And so just to clarify what you just said there, the first round, the first round 1 through 8, or 1v8, 2v7, 3-6, 4-5. Is that a best of 7 or best of 5?
It's 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And then the semifinals will be 4 to 7, and the finals will be 4 to 7.
Okay. So you heard it here. If you were unsure, that's the way it's going to go. I had somebody else ask me that earlier in the season about what that first round would be, and I just assumed naturally it was going to be best of 7. But that makes sense now, and you've heard it here: 3 of 5 in the first round.
And Raji, with us doing a 24-game schedule, it would have been tough to do 3, 4 out of 7.
No, absolutely. It's a lot of hockey.
It's a lot of hockey. It is, especially if some of those series go 7, because a 7 game is technically a 3 weekends.
True, and that's the other part, right? Is then if you start to get into too many games, you just start playing during the week, and that could be a little bit of a scheduling nightmare for sure.
That's right.
Guys with jobs and all that sort of other stuff. Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you so far, and we really do appreciate you coming on and doing this as always. It's great to get your insight and just your update on how things are going within the league. Is there anything, I guess, that you could divulge with us that you haven't touched on yet that you'd like to take a moment to speak about?
I would say we get great support from Sleeman, Mighty Expedite, Domino's Pizza, 519 Sports has been outstanding. Darren does a real good job, and I know
He sure
you work
does. You're absolutely right.
Highlights, and I think that's one thing that does separate us from some of the other age group leagues of us. We do a real good job of that, and we talk about that credibility thing. When we have teams reaching out to us, it's one of the things they speak about it, because there is other options for other teams to go to, and I believe there is a reason why they're reaching out to us is some of that is our social media, the website, everything that looks professional, and there's been lots of comments on that. And again, is there stuff that we can improve on? Oh man, yeah, absolutely.
Obviously.
But the thing is that it looks good, and we are making an impact in southwestern Ontario, and we'd like to piggyback up that and get into other regions, but we'll take care of this region first. And that's basically it. Thank you for all the supporters, the crowds. I don't get out to every game when Stratford's not playing, but I've been to a few, and the crowds look real solid. Strathroy two weeks ago, I think they had close to 700.
Oh yeah, they packed that sportsplex, so it's a nice spot over there.
It's awesome. And Tilsonburg had just over 600. Bill was saying last Saturday. It's awesome. So and then you see like I said earlier, you see the numbers that people are watching on the Sportify, which is our live stream. People are watching. And that's a good thing, and that's technically why we started this whole thing up, is to give people another option for this age group, because we thought we could do things a little better.
Well, and it's certainly working. It's certainly working for sure. Last question I have for you, Jamie. So we're in the holiday season. Obviously, Christmas coming up here. Do you have any big plans? And I guess what's your holiday message to everybody on behalf of the WOSHL?
Well, on behalf of the league, hope everyone's healthy. Last year at this time we were sitting here with COVID, and I know there's still an elephant in the room to a degree with COVID. Hope everyone, all our teams and players and fans have a great Christmas. As far as personally, I have 3 kids that I'll spend a lot of time with, and a 2-year-old grandson that I'll smother with love, and that's about it. Probably overindulge in food, as you can see by my stomach.
It's all good, my brother. It's all good. That was well said. We've been speaking with WOSHL President Jamie Petrie on this week's edition of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast, the halfway point, unofficial halfway point, I guess, if you could say. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, pal, and we really do appreciate it. Best of luck to Stratford the rest of the way, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you again soon. Thanks so much for doing this.
No, and Raji, thank you. It's glad to have you back behind the camera, and a lot of people, what they don't know is they just see that great face of yours, but it's a lot of the stuff you do behind the screens, behind the scenes, and the graphics and stuff, and helping other teams out. So much appreciative. Bill and I speak about it often. So good to you. I hope you have a great Christmas, and hopefully you get to our game on the 27th.
Yeah, guys. So once again, I want to thank Jamie for coming on and speaking with us, taking time out of his schedule to meet with us and be our guest on this week's edition of the podcast. I want to thank Sleeman Breweries for their continued sponsorship and support of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. I also want to thank you guys, the viewer, for continuing to watch each and every week. And we really do appreciate your support of this league and of the podcast. The guys that come on here are really appreciative of your support, and we can't say enough. But yeah, so let's get you caught up on what the games that are going to be coming up here. Like I said, it's a 4-game schedule between now and next Friday. So the Thunder and the Rocks will play this upcoming Friday, December 23rd, 8:30 at the Lauren District Community Center. The Thunder at 11-1, winners of 10 in a row, take on the Rocks at 9-4-2. The Tilbury Bluebirds will then take on the Stratford Fighting Irish. That one goes on Tuesday, December the 27th, 7:30 over at the William Allman. Bluebirds 11-2, Irish at 10-2. Stratford's won 9 in a row. They're on a hot streak right now. Tilbury, obviously, unbelievable year for them, 11-2. That'll be a colossal matchup. The Alvinston Killer Bees will then travel to Tilbury to take on the Tilbury Bluebirds in the first of a back-to-back home and home. Yeah. Alveston 4-9-1, Tilbury, like I said, 11-2. That's prior to their matchup against the Irish. The game time has been switched from 7:30 to 7 on Wednesday, December 28th at the Tilbury Arena. The teams will then meet again on Friday, December the 30th at 8 o'clock at the BAI CC Complex in Alveston. The Bluebirds and the Killer Bees will face off in a rematch, back-to-back home and home. So 4 games, and like I said, we'll be back with you. The next time you'll see me is in 2 weeks' time. And we'll do another podcast then, and we'll get you recapped on those 4 games. And we'll definitely see you guys on the other side. I'm looking forward to that. My last message to you is on behalf of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League and on behalf of myself. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please stay safe, whatever you guys do. And, make sure that, you hug your loved ones closely and hold them closely, and make sure to shower them with love and appreciation. And, you never know what's going to happen on the day-to-day. Times are tough right now for everybody, and you never know what somebody's going through, and you never know what an extra hug or two would do to help somebody and how they're feeling and that sort of thing. But this is the most special time of year. Make it count for those people that are close to you and that you haven't seen in a long time. Make sure to cherish every moment. It's not about the gifts; it's about the time spent with family. Okay, remember that. And like I said, be safe out there in whatever you do, and all your safe travels and that sort of thing. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays from Andrew Rogers and the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. We'll see you in 2 weeks.